Iretioluwa Aloba, a.k.a. Mohbad, on September 12, 2023, is still attracting the headlines. In the latest development, the police in Lagos have arrested a gentleman, Samson Olamilekon, a.k.a. Sam Larry. Is an associate of the controversial singer Naira Marley. He is currently assisting the police with ongoing investigation into the sudden death of Mohbad. In investigations, when you eliminate the impossible, whatever is left, however improbable, must be the truth, Jide.
Yes, we're interested in the truth, and the truth is being approached in different angles. From different angles. There is the autopsy that has been done. The result of the autopsy is being awaited. The person who administered an anti-tetanus injection on him has also been arrested. Nigerian nurses have come out to say, no, this person is not one of us. It's not a registered nurse and all that. That is one leg of the investigation that the police are interested in. And then the matter of bullying of the artists, which people have seen in form of videos that have gone viral.
Intimidation and
Intimidation,
all that.
beating. There's a particular video in which he was bleeding on the neck, you know, in front of Naira Marley's house. Naira Marley has not explained how and why that happened. But we've seen him doing some PR through his minders about the fact that he didn't do anything to him. Is not responsible for what has happened to the artist. I don't think that any rational person will pointedly say, oh, Naira Marley is responsible for the death of the artist. But what has angered people is the fact that they saw those videos showing different forms of intimidation and all that, and outright beating of the artist.
The artist, yeah.
Yes, no one can explain how we got to that situation, but it makes his death even more painful, especially given the fact that he also had done a petition, you know, where he mentioned people who are putting his life at risk and all that. So people are emotional because after his death, they started listening to songs showing clearly that he feared for his life, showing clearly that he felt he was being haunted and all that. So these are the reasons people are very interested in how this matter is resolved, are interested in the content of the investigation, I mean the report of police investigation and all that.
Yeah.
And I was reading Sam Larry today, where he said that the reason he had that brawl with him during that video shoot was because he gave him 2 million to come and play at his mother's anniversary, and he took the money but never showed up, explained that he was broke because he had left the Malian label. We are in a situation now where we cannot ask the dead what transpired, or why did you take money and they didn't play. No one is in position to ask those questions, but whatever was the reason,
the fact remains.
The fact remains that Sam Larry led a group of thugs wielding cutlasses to a place where Zlatan Ibile and the late Mohbad was shooting a video in a country governed by laws. You cannot resort to self-help in that manner.
Gideon, I'm seeing a man in your picture here.
Yes, that's Sam Larry.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
His real name is Eletu, but he prefers to be called Sam Larry. So people believe that, oh, because he's Amali's friend, that was why, yes, that was why he was involved in bullying of the artist. And some of the interviews that some artists have had, people like Bella Shmurda, who was his best friend, indicated that the guy got to a point that he wanted to take his own life. He was clearly fed up with life. In so many songs, he kept saying that, look,
more like saying he was pushed.
Yes, that he felt no reason for life anymore because of the constant harassment and the fear for his life. He was even in London, and he told his promoter, please get me a policeman, to be following me around. And the guy said, look, you are not in Nigeria, you are safe here. But he was already terrified. So he felt that, look, if he didn't have a policeman around him, that he wasn't sure he won't be killed. So these are the things that have pushed Nigerians to so much pity. They felt that that they could have done something to save him. All of those saying RIP today, showing pity. They knew, especially those in the industry, they knew that he was going through hell. But they didn't do anything. They didn't do anything. All those songs, you cannot say that those songs had no meaning. When someone keeps saying that, look, Sheba John Malians, then one family bother me, one threaten mommy me, things like that. He was really telling the story in songs.
Yeah.
But
we didn't quite take heed.
Yes, that is why it's painful. In fact, one of the promoters said, I blame myself for this boy's death. I felt he could have moved further to save him.
Yeah. Which is the problem with many a brutal death like this, an avoidable one. Everything coming out tells me that Mohbad's death was avoidable.
Yes, it was avoidable, just like BK said. From the songs we later heard, many of us didn't hear some of these songs until after his demise. He was expressing what he was going through. He wanted out of a lifestyle that was not very palatable to him. But there was an interview I later watched where he was like saying, I want to change. You understand? I'm changing. Like I'm repenting, sort of. So there was a kind of, that tells me there was a kind of lifestyle that he had when he was with the Malian records. And he wanted out of it. You understand what I'm saying? And it seems to me that there was
a fight back.
It seems to me that he was a very reserved person who didn't talk too much. So he expressed himself in his music. He wasn't the kind of person that would easily talk to you. Now, but then people that were around him, if they were observant enough, if they loved him enough, maybe they loved him for the heart, maybe they loved him for what they could get out of him. They didn't love him as a person. They didn't see him as a person with challenges, as a human being, as a young boy who was trying to find his way in life, a young boy with some tendencies to be depressed, he was already getting depressed, or was even depressed, and nobody came around him, nobody was able to assist him.
Paul, I said at the beginning, in investigations, when you remove the impossible, whatever is left, however improbable, must be the truth.
Exactly.
So do you expect the police to get to the root of the matter?
They have no choice. This is a public interest case. And, I heard one person trying to blame the people for being the outrage of the people. So what do you expect? If people were not this outrage, maybe the authorities will not take it seriously as this. You understand? If people were not protesting, if people are not angry, maybe the authorities will not take it seriously. But now we hear of autopsy. The police is giving us updates and all of that. So we expect them to ferry out the truth. How did that young man die? But not only that, not only his death, even his persecution, his maltreatment. People have to be held responsible for it.
All right. Well, thank you. But to tell the viewer, our musicians sing with us, they sing for us, they sing about us, They sing our woes, they sing our weaknesses, they sing our strengths. Are we listening to them? Are we really listening to them? Now to our next story. You know, the sticky political situation in Edo State is no less messier in Ondo, where the number 2 citizen there, Lucky Ayedatiwa, I hope I got that right, is fighting both tooth and nail to stave off an imminent impeachment from office over wrongdoing. The National Working Committee, NWC, of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is intervening in the ongoing imbroglio there to arrest the situation. The APC National Chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, has announced a 9-man mediation committee to arrest the ongoing face-off. How far this would go will be seen, who knows, in the coming days. In politics, neither friends nor enemies are permanent for.
Yes, that's true. Except that the situation in Ondo State is like a kind of distraction, you know. I think that there should have been a better way to resolve the matter instead of going through, you know, talking about impeachment and all of that. And from what we hear, from the allegation we hear, you know, apart from the fact, you know, the courts stopped the impeachment and they said they were going to continue with it.
Yeah.
And then there's an allegation that the House of Assembly had been trying to evade service of the processes.
That's it.
In fact, only yesterday, the court granted the embattled deputy governor the leave to serve the House of Assembly processes through substituted means. And I saw pictures where they had to paste the processes on the gates of the House of Assembly. But I think it's a very beautiful thing that the APC is stepping in so that they can mediate. Because, look, this is just, for me, it's a personal battle between the governor and
number 1 man.
Number two man. And people are even saying, look, he had the same problems with his former deputy in his first term. And why is it repeating itself? Is it that what exactly is the problem? So I'm not going to say the governor is to blame.
When you hear that the Ondo State governor is an Aluta man.
Governor Adekedolu is a very likable man. He's someone that is different, speaks his mind, and all of that. So which is why I think that there should be a way to resolve this. Thankfully, he's not adding it in a very puerile manner like his counterpart in Edo State, you know, that is locking out the man from accessing the state government house, or even sending him out of the state government house and to, you know, changing his office and all of that. But I do hope that this is actually resolved, that the APC is able to resolve this issue, and then everybody bury shoot their swords, and then we can have some peace.
Yeah, but it gives you the impression that being a number 2 man or landing the number 2 job in this country is something unsure.
Yes, anything can happen with respect to being the number 2 man. It's extremely, how do I call it? Governors think that their deputies are easily dispensable.
Yeah.
So anyone who is a deputy governor knows that he may not be there for the 2 terms that the governor could be there if he gets re-elected. In this case, and I've said that before, I'm not prepared to take it back, it is succession politics being played.
Yeah.
14 allegations have been
leveled.
Yes, against the deputy governor. I was reading some of them. I don't know how you can prove some of those allegations because they are just very superficial allegations, you know, and you call them gross misconduct. How do you define gross misconduct? It's a good thing, as he has said, that the APC at the national level has intervened in the matter, because perhaps they can find a way to get the assembly to drop the impeachment
option
plan. But in my view, it seems like these people have reached a point of no return. They are bent on kicking the deputy governor into touch. And even if the matter gets resolved, perhaps the best thing for the deputy governor to do is to just throw in the towel on his own. But if you get impeached in 10 years, it's after 10 years that you can contest for an elected position. But if you live
out in the cold,
if you live on your own, then you are eligible to contest, because the way it's going, and given the numbers that they have, they are not going to find it difficult to impeach him. And I will not bet against them even impeaching him illegally.
I hear it's a 26-man house. 22 of them have signed up.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that they have the numbers. It's not like the last case.
Yeah.
In the case of Agbola, they didn't have the numbers. So Agbola scraped through and he contested on the platform of another party. In this case, they are overwhelmingly pro-impeachment, and the next election takes place in January 2025. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, 2025, how possible is it for him to hang on with a boss that doesn't want to see him, or with an ESCO that is eager to see his back? Can he hang on till that time? It's a long time. Between now and January 2025, when the election will take place, it's such a long time. You know, their own election will come after that of Edo. Yeah. So there's no way. Agbola, they were approaching the election when Agbola had those issues. But this person, there's so much time left. So even if you get an injunction, you can't have an injunction in perpetuity. They are going to find a way to get that injunction vacated. And the governor is a lawyer. So my advice is, once it becomes clear that, look, they have made up their minds, because we've seen assemblies deliberately go against the law in impeaching deputy governors. It happened even in Gusau, in Zamfara, only for the courts to say, look, what you did was against the law. That impeachment is not known to law. We saw it. It happened in the case of Fayose. They went against the law to impeach Fayose. The Supreme Court ruled that Fayose's impeachment is not known to law. That was why he was able to contest at the time that he contested. You know, when he defeated Fayemi, you know. So, again, in Adamawa State, Babami Mongoro, Murtalan Yako, his impeachment was set aside by the court. But again, the time that dispensation had ended, so justice was just partially served. Balang Gilari was also wrongly impeached. The Supreme Court ruled that he was wrongly impeached. Dan Ladi, who was Damabason Tai's deputy in Taraba, the Supreme Court ruled that he was wrongly impeached.
That's it. Yeah.
He got back to his position. And with the governor ill, he was the one who actually even continued as acting governor. Yeah. The man that the governor brought to occupy that position after the illegal impeachment of Danladi was sacked by the Supreme Court, and Danladi came back. So we've seen a lot of illegal impeachment of deputy governors in our country. I won't be surprised if they go against the law, they impeach him. They will achieve their aim.
Or for that matter, seeing this thing going to the apex court.
I know, even if it goes to the apex court, they will have sent him packing. You get the point. They will have sent him packing, and the paraphernalia of office will have been taken away before justice is served. You know the way justice
these three will be done
move slowly. So their aim of getting him out of the way will have been achieved. But maybe several months later, the court will rule that, oh, you impeached him wrongly. But
it will be too late then. Another dispensation has come.
Yes.
After the horse had both.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what happens these days. That's what they do these days.
I hear we must make some money, so we'll go on a commercial break and return. Please stay with us, please.
Trading isn't just for office professionals.
Everyone wants to fly high in life.
It's for go-getters who can seize an opportunity
and still remain a baby girl for life.
Remember when I was trying to convince you to start trading when we were in our 30s? You were almost not convinced. To steal the chop life for this our old age, is sweet.
It doesn't matter where you are or what you do. You can still access the trading markets anytime. If you ask Chike, he'll have some words of advice for you.
Nah, you got shine your eye, Wella.
Trading is also for the differently abled, like Turva, who have learned to overcome barriers and get empowerment through trading.
You just have to push through your limitations.
Trading is for you. At Quackle, we're excited about teaching and helping you trade.
So you can fly high and help others too.
Quackle, creating the future you deserve.
You're heading home from work. In the busy traffic, your car breaks down. Car horns blast. Your car is pushed aside. You call for help. Phone battery blinks and dies. You take a cab. Few miles, tire bursts. What a day. Frustrated, sweating, and tired. Nearing home, darkness envelops the street. Wow! Just one house is bubbling with life. Brilliant lights, loud music, smiling wife, all welcome you.
We alone have light?
Yes, it's JRB Solar Energy Systems, my anniversary present to us.
No matter how dark life is, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do. JRB solar inverters, batteries, solar panels, solar streetlights and more. Telephone 0906 752 1111. Email sales@jrbsolar.com. JRB, the sun is gonna shine on everything you do.
Okay then, from Ondo, let's go straight to Edo. You know, in politics, forgiveness is not absolute. It is possible to forgive someone without reconciling with him. In Edo State, Governor Godwin Obaseki has said that to err is human, to forgive divine, end quote. And that public apology by his deputy, Philip Shuaibu, is acceptable to him. That's the governor. Also, that as a person of faith, he, Governor Obaseki, is bound to accept his apology. But we caution that when you bury the hatchet, do so with a handle.
You know, you've not had the last of the drama in Edo State.
Even as it stands?
Yes, the deputy governor apologized publicly. It was well reported last week. He looked into the camera and said, look, I apologize for my conduct. I'm missing my governor. I want us to continue to work together the way it used to be. I want us to finish strongly. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. He was saying that about his governor. Now, people waited a little bit to see what will happen afterwards. Some people then sat down and concocted a story that the governor had given him some conditions if he wants to be forgiven, which includes but not limited to him stepping out of the governorship race. But the governor has said...
Succession politics at play here.
Yes, that is what, you see, most people who are falling apart with their deputies, usually during the transitional period. Even Oshomole. When Oshomole picked Obaseki, he split his cabinet into two. Many of them went, supported his deputy at that time. But Oshomole insisted that it was Obaseki that he wanted.
Yeah.
I wonder how he's feeling now. You know, that must rank as one of the regrets, one of the biggest regrets of Oshomole's life.
As we speak.
Yes, because they dragged him like a tiger generator. He was forced to, in fact, I would say that it was his insistence on punishing Obaseki's lack of loyalty that eventually got him removed as a APC national chairman, because Obaseki's friends, fellow governors, ganged up against him. And the then president didn't really do anything about it, because he was led to believe that Obaseki would eventually come back to the APC. So that must be Oshomole's biggest regret, that he had to back this man who fell out with him so quickly. Now, we've seen something similar happening now. Clearly, Obaseki does not want Shaibu to succeed him.
Yeah.
He has a different person. He wants a banker, as I've had to succeed him. So he's not looking in Obaseki's direction. Now, how do you get, he's not looking in Shaibu's direction. How do you get Shaibu to step out of the race to pave way for your own candidate? It's either you muzzle him, intimidate him, diminish him, and see if in anger he could leave the party for you. Some have employed such tactics and succeeded. So we don't know. We can't say with certainty now whether Shaibu will eventually go to the APC, where his former party, or he will stay put in the PDP and slug it out in the primaries with the governor's choice. No one knows. But there's still a long time between now and the election in Edo State. There's still a long time. Just about a year or so. So they have the opportunity to mend fences properly. I could see from the governor's press statement that he's approaching that matter with caution. He's not convinced that that Shaibu's apology is genuine. He's not convinced at all.
So there's a tinge of suspicion here.
Yes, yes. And he literally blamed Shaibu for all of what happened. Here is a man that merely wanted to greet you at a function. You got your aides to block him.
Yeah.
You diminished him before your aides, just to say hello, sir. Even where people quarrel, it doesn't stop them from greeting one another. But to show it, to intimidate him, you got him embarrassed by security aides.
Yeah.
You kicked him out of the government house complex.
Locking the
You said he should go to an office that they were using for logistics and all that. You locked the gate against him. That was after you got him to withdraw the court. As you know, he went to court to seek an injunction to stop his impeachment. But they got church leaders and other people to prevail on him to withdraw that matter because they kept saying, no, there was no plan to impeach. So the deputy governor withdrew.
But
in spite of that, the serial diminishing of his office continued.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying we've not had the last. Maybe even after this, what the governor can do, which I doubt that he will do, but I'll be happy if he can silence me, is to say, okay, in view of the new attitude, come back to the office that you were using before now.
Before, yeah.
So if it takes such a step, we will now see that, okay, this rapprochement between both men is really working. But if you still shut him away from the government house complex and he wants to greet you, you are stopping from greeting you, then it means that you have not accepted the apology. You are only pretending.
Yeah. But he has told you and I that he's a man of faith. Please underline that.
When a politician tells you he's a man of faith, you believe him at your own peril. Politicians.
All understand.
You know what politicians, you know who they are. Politicians. Politician stands before you.
If they say it's raining outside, go and check. Maybe the sun is actually shining.
Paul, the number 2 man job in this country, even at the center in Abuja, it didn't come easy.
Yes, it's very unfortunate that governors treat their deputies as appendages, But for even the vice president, there are some constitutionally assigned roles for the vice president. Is in charge of the economic council and all of that. I'm thinking maybe we should tinker with our laws such that deputy governors will have specific roles in the constitution.
Yeah.
You understand? Otherwise, governors that have this emperor-like disposition, people like Obaseki will continue to treat their deputy governors like people like robots that cannot have a mind of their own.
Well, again, still talking about this, many of our politicians hardly read, because I mentioned it in passing. 48 laws of power. Let me please allow this. Number 1 is Oga. Law number 3, don't show your hand too early. So succession politics is going to create problems.
But really, you can say that, but there is nothing wrong in a deputy governor having a political ambition. See, so long the deputy governor is performing his duties, he's not disobeying his boss, whatever he's asked to do, he does it and all of that. Now, if he chooses to contest an election, the governor is free to support whoever he wants to support. You understand? But don't stand in the way of your deputy governor. I remember in 2023, when...
2023.
No, sorry, I beg your pardon. When I'm talking about, I want to talk about 2003, I think, or 2007, when Tinubu was and in Lagos here, a lot of people came out and said they wanted to contest. A lot of commissioners, people in his cabinet, said he didn't discourage any of them. You understand? But he supported Fashola. You understand? He didn't discourage anybody from contesting. He supported Fashola. Now, what we are trying to say is that he doesn't have to necessarily pitch his tent with Shuaibu. But humiliating him, he says he's a man of faith. But I'm asking, where was his faith when he snubbed him at a public function? Where was that faith when he threw him out of the state government house? Where was that faith when his access was blocked?
As we speak now, he's born again.
I hope he will not backslide.
It's an interfaith. It was a church event.
It was a church event, and it was a church event. If he feared God,
that it came from him.
So we'll see whether his salvation, whether salvation is genuine.
It was a Thanksgiving event.
It was a church event. It was a religious event.
But
And
he still didn't allow him to greet him. I see politicians who greet one another who even hug, but
on the inside.
Obaseki cannot even, he can't even pretend. He can't even pretend.
Okay, but me, I hear loyalty in politics is 110%. I don't know where that takes us. I wish the political actors in Edo, I wish them very, very well. Okay, we touch our next story. You know, these could never be said to be best of seasons in our country. Labor is inhibited by laws such as gross violation of labor laws, violation by employers, politicization and marginalization of labor unions, and sundry issues. In the current face-off between organized labor and government, Attorney General of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, and the National Economic Council, NEC, have prevailed on labor to shelve its planned nationwide strike scheduled for Tuesday, October 3. To the AGF, any action by labor would be a violation of subsisting court order, and to the NEC, the NEC is asking for more time for government to act. Who blinks first? But first, let's share this story by TVC's Femi Akonde with you. Let's go.
The threat of a nationwide strike has caused a scare for governments at all levels. Now the National Economic Council, chaired by Vice President Kashim Shettima, is deploying all options at its disposal to avert a shutdown that will worsen the situation in the country. The state governors, who are a critical group of the National Economic Council, are now making frantic efforts in dialogue and consultations with the state chapters of organized labor to shelve the strike and save citizens from further hardship.
NEC actually expressed genuine concern about the situation in the country and appreciates the concern by labor to have those issues addressed. And that is why NEC is appealing for patience, is appealing for time to be able to address the concerns of labor.
The National Economic Council also had presentations from special presidential committees on the assessment of the impact of flood in some parts of the country. Also, the fiscal and tax reforms, and a report on the extent of the palliative distribution at the sub-national levels.
Staff of the committee, and so they came up with 3 categories and categorized states in the 3 categories: category A, category B, and category C. States that are categorized in the A group are states that to them have over 15 points, most affected areas.
Members of the council have received the sum of 2 billion from the federal government as part of the palliative, and also work is on progress by all members of the council, and the council urged members to redouble effort to alleviate the sufferings of the Nigerians.
Meanwhile, the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation gave updates on the excess crude account balance, the stabilization account, and the development of natural resources account. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
The rains are here again. Seasonal climate forecasts have revealed the possibility of flooding in several communities of Nigeria. Clear away solid wastes that block drainages and waterways to mitigate the risk of flooding in your area. Evacuate from flood-prone areas to safe higher grounds and report any flood incidents to emergency responders near you. Listen to weather forecast and comply to safety instructions. Disaster management is everybody's business. This message is brought to you by the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA. NEMA, for the sake of the distressed.
All right, then, let's hear this story down. Well, we are a strike-weary country, if you ask me.
Yes, the the truth is the strike is going to worsen the economic situation we're already in. I am inclined to tell Labour to tarry a while. But the truth of the matter is that, see, except you are living on planet Mars, that's when you will know that things are getting worse for the people. Mm. You understand? Now, the reforms being embarked upon by this government are done in good faith. But the effects of the reforms, you understand, it has negative side effects. And what Labour is asking, there are things Labour is asking for that cannot be done immediately, that will be done in a long time. But there are some that I feel could be done immediately. Or, for example, they're asking for a wage award. You know, that, okay, they know that...
Increase.
No, of course, the minimum wage will be accommodated in the next budget. But while you're waiting for minimum wage, the workers having issues. You understand? You know, they're having issues. They want to buy this, they want to buy that. They're also talking about what's the program for the palliatives you want to give to the nano entrepreneurs. That is the smallest businesses. Yeah. You understand? What are the modalities? You know, these are questions that are begging for answers. These are the president, the federal government has said we will do this, we will do that. You know, when, how, what are the plans on ground? I think that I hope that on October 1st, the president in his broadcast, he will address some of these issues. I just hope that whatever the president says will be enough to placate Labour. But the truth of the matter is, I think this government needs to talk more. I think the government needs to act faster. You know,
time is of the essence.
Time is of the essence. That's the truth. They're also asking for tax exemptions, for example, for some of the workers and all of that. So I don't think this should take time. And there are certain things that the Labour minister cannot undo. I mean, there are some decisions he cannot take. You know, he has met with them. The other time I was saying that, okay, Labour, calm down. This Labour minister has just come in. He's trying to study the system and all of that. But he has met with them. And there are some decisions that only the president can take. So I hope that in his Independence Day broadcast, he will address some of these issues. You know, but I want this government to communicate better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when you have one government Labour talk too many breaking down, you begin to suspect some suspicion, mutual suspicion. You know, nobody trusts anybody anymore.
Yes, and that's why I'll continue to encourage the government to move fast on these matters. On the matter of minimum wage, for example, the president said in one of his earlier speeches after his inauguration that the workers deserve a living wage, that this is the time for us to think of a living wage for workers. And I was impressed because that was the first time I was meeting with governors, you know, when he said that. So by now, meetings, you know, around what the next minimum wage should be. Mm. And the consequential additions to people's wages across board. Because when you come up with a minimum wage, every worker benefits from it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because you could say, okay, minimum wage, the junior workers, consequential adjustment to their wages, yes.
Yeah.
Let's say level 1 to 6, the percentage will differ to what people on level 7 to 15, 17 will get, but everybody will get something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, once they add to the salaries of level 1 to 6, they will eventually catch up with their bosses. You know, that's why everybody must get something. So if you get 20%, maybe Paul will get 40. It all depends on the negotiation. And these negotiations take time. So that's why I'm saying by now, it ought to have begun because it's going to be a long process. So by now, it ought to have begun, and Labour will see clear signs of commitment to solving that problem.
Oh, yeah.
Then, on the issue of even compressed natural gas fired vehicles and all that, Labour and other Nigerians need to see what government is doing. Government needs to come up with timelines to say, okay, we are importing 10,000 buses in the first instance, and those buses will arrive at the Nigerian port at so time. Somebody needs to be addressing us on the plans that are being made to mitigate the ill effects of subsidy removal. We cannot pretend that this has made life difficult for many Nigerians because food prices have gone up.
Oh, yeah.
We are such an import-dependent nation that the current exchange rate has literally impacted on everything.
Terribly.
Everything. Yes. Food prices, it has impacted on virtually everything. So something must give. The Naira, for example, that is sliding, that ensures that fuel prices are very high at this time. Government needs to let the people know what they are doing. These are confidence-boosting measures.
Yeah.
If those confidence-boosting measures do not take place...
Restoration of faith.
Yes. After all, we are talking about renewed hope. So if those confidence-boosting measures do not take place, and if you are not engaging these fellows constantly and getting them to understand that these are the steps you are taking, the suspicion, they will just conclude that they don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
We've told you they are not serious, they don't want to do anything. That is what is dangerous about what is going on, because if that notion manages to stick in the consciousness of people, that there is no desire to mitigate the ill effects of this subsidy removal, people will lose faith in government and they will start telling themselves that we told you, they are not prepared to do it. So if you listen to the labor leaders, they are saying, look, we need meetings to take place where you assure us that this is what we want to do, this is what you are doing. Those meetings need to take place. If they don't take place, there's no way you can assure them that you want to solve the problem. And if there are problems, let them realize that this is the extent of the problem that we face.
That's it. Well, and it begs the question of, could Labour not think out of the box, as they say? Must it be at the least prompting strike?
Well, that is I think that's the best they could do. That's the best weapon they have. So our greatest worry should be the taciturnity of this government. This government is not speaking. For example, you floated the Naira because you wanted to end arbitrage. What is happening now? You see, in the black market, what's the black market rate for dollars? And who is going to talk to us about that? People are saying that even fuel subsidies that you say you removed has come into the back door. You understand? People there's that. Who is going to explain that to us? This seeming unofficial removal, restoration of.
Let me rub this in. And there was this talk about Dangote refinery coming into the picture to ameliorate the situation.
But
nobody is. I mean, it's all when you. This
government needs to speak and needs to explain. Nobody can talk about that. Labour is asking for meetings. There was a time they were even complaining that government was not serious. That the person, Femi Gbajabiamila, was in charge of the meetings. That he didn't have the time for them. Okay, a Labour minister came on, the same thing. So it's we may blame Labour and say, look, okay, all you know is strike. But that's the best weapon they have, because they are trying to shut down the nation. And look, people are speaking now. NEC is talking. Everybody is talking. I just hope that the president will also talk on October 1st.
I'm confident. We don't need to intimidate them with content proceedings. There's no need.
Yes, not necessary.
These guys need to be reassured They need to be assured, and there should be timelines. The naira is exchanging to the dollar in the realm of 1,000 to, but it is not permanent. Dollar supply from the CBN to the I&E window has gone down because the CBN is trying to clear 8.6 billion backlog. Many Nigerians don't know this.
Exactly.
And the minister said, look, once we clear it, the liquidity will improve.
Yeah, yeah.
I agree. When I read it, I said, oh, it makes sense because you are looking for foreign investors. If foreign investors are not convinced that they can repatriate their money, they will not come.
All right.
And those efforts that the president is making, they should not be in vain.
How many people know this thing you're talking about now?
All right.
That is,
how many people know that this is the situation?
No, but
even journalists don't know.
Yes. Well, that's because a lot of people don't read sufficiently.
All right, gentlemen, our business is to mold opinion, because we are not manufacturers. Okay? We want to thank you for coming. Biko, many thanks for your time. Paul, I thank you very kindly. And so on behalf of the Backroom Boys, I say thank you for joining us on this program. If you missed any portion of it, join us later tonight at 11. And on Sunday, we'll expand the fare for you from 1:30 to 3:30. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Citizen Jones Hussein. Bye-bye now. Take care.
In 2018, Grace Alache Jerry led her team to design a Braille ballot guide for voters with visual impairments. This was tested in Ondo State 2018 election, and for the first time in Nigeria's electoral history, the Braille ballot guide was used by independent national